What is it you seek when you walk into Church of the Oaks? Different for everybody. But whatever you seek, whatever you're looking for, whatever needs healing, whatever needs affirmed, whatever that might be, irregardless of whatever whoever's standing here might say, it's in this very room. The wisdom, the love, the forgiveness, the courage, the healing, it's here. And I find great peace in that. Sometimes I just walk here and I sit in this room. In this room there are more than 100 years of life experience, of human energy, of love, of grief. It's all right here in this room. And it's for all of us to share. And so it is.
Good morning, all. I see lots of familiar faces, and I guess at least one not so familiar face. Welcome. Glad you're joining us today.
Thank you very much.
I recently started reading a book that I got from the Palm Springs Library bookstore while we were there recently. It's called America's Prophet, subtitled Moses and the American Story. And it's quite an interesting book. The author is Bruce Feiler, and he tells a very readable story about the biblical trials of Moses and how Americans, from the Pilgrims all the way through to the slaves and beyond, seem to adopt Moses' legacy as their own. Especially his leading the Israelites out of slavery through the Red Sea, you remember the Red Sea story, toward freedom and a new land of what they thought would be milk and honey. I've been intrigued by the large number of previously vaguely known but undigested facts and concepts that I encountered in this book. For instance, it never occurred to me that almost half of Americans have changed their religious affiliation at some time in their life. Everyone here is an example of that exact fact, because we come from somewhere else to this one-of-a-kind place. And I think we're glad we did. The book is replete with examples of Americans seeking freedom, often from some form of enslavement, sometimes actual slavery, and finding that with freedom comes another word, responsibility. When each of us exercised our freedom to come join this church, we were advised that, hey, there comes some responsibility with that. We get to pledge our 4 T's, our time, our talent, our thoughts, and some of our treasure. And so there is responsibility that comes with that commitment to freedom. And here's a thought for all Americans that on its face seems contradictory. There is no freedom without obligation. No freedom without obligation. True freedom depends on giving up some freedoms in return for a civil and just society. I remember on the IRS building in Washington, D.C., where I used to work, was that statement of taxes are what we have to pay for a civilized society. Well, that's an obligation, taxes. And the final conundrum that I present to you today from this book is this: success is a very dubious enterprise in that the roots of destruction can already be embedded in the very success itself. We Americans are quite unique in that we consider ourselves to be exceptional. We seem to have taken for granted that we are in charge of the grand design of the universe, if you will. We've done our best to make it modify itself to our own ambitions. And America has succeeded in its growth and ambitions in a way for such a prolonged period that recent news reports kind of give us pause, because we might be in danger of seeing it slip away. Well, what can we do? Perhaps we just need to step back, relax, and recognize the truth in what was said by a Reverend Peter Gomes from Harvard University, church there. He was a student of and an expert in the Pilgrims in America, and here is what he had to say as quoted in this book. In America, we choose our heroes, and we choose the Pilgrims because of their struggles. It's dealing with adversity that is character-making. The cycle of failure, recovery, struggle, success is very American and also very Mosaic, Moses-like. And it ceases to work if the cycle is interrupted for any prolonged period. Too much adversity, too much success. There has to be moderating balance. That's the end of the quote. Those words were delivered by Gomes to the Pilgrim Society a few years back, and he stated that it still rings true today. And as our minister, Patrick Michael McCarty, is fond of saying, that's just something for you all to ponder. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Have a lot of announcements today. First, did anybody last week find, Janet, was that a gray sweater?
Yes.
A gray sweater? We lost a gray sweater last Sunday. If you happen to have one or see one or know of one, holler at me, or see Janet right there.
I think Janet Tonelli and I found one together on the table in the hall.
Yeah?
And I don't know where, I think she might have it.
Okay, well, good. maybe we'll find it. Okay. Janet's tied up right now, but we'll check into it in a minute. Thursday, spiritual book study group, going to be this coming Thursday, the 13th, in the hall at 10 a.m. Today, we're having a memorial for Bruce Voorhees at about probably closer to 12:30 than 12:15, but somewhere after church, we'll go over and have a cup of coffee, get set up for the memorial, and then whenever that set will start, it'll be about 12:30 probably today. After the memorial, then there will be a potluck reception in the hall. Our 7:30 healing circle will resume again tonight at 7:30 right here. Next Sunday, we have a special treat for everyone next Sunday. There is a lady who's probably the finest mezzo-soprano I have known. Her name is Krista Duran. She owns Music to My Ears. She happens to be my yoga teacher too, but years ago we started a thing here called Project Applause, finding performance opportunities for classical voice students. She was one of those. That started about 2003. We did that for several years. We'd have like a night in Italy, we'd have a dinner, an Italian dinner in the hall. We'd come over and have an Italian concert, and a night in France, a night in Germany. And that ran its course for about 5 years. Well, it's time to kind of think about maybe bringing that back up. But she is going to offer special music next Sunday, have a couple of songs, and so it'll be quite something for all of us to experience. So, the 29th, Katati, I'm forgetting, there's a thing in the hall, there's little handbills in the back and a poster. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this coming week, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. 14th and 15th, 7 p.m. We're having the Readers Theater here. The topic this year, the program is called Choices. Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, there will be another performance here. So I think that's $15. There's a flyer on the bulletin board as you walk into the hall. The 29th will be the cabaret, our community cabaret at the Oaks from 5 till 7. Bring your own snacks, treats, dinner, wine, beer, whatever you want. It'll be Pi Jacobs. She's a singer, songwriter, recording artist from LA. She just got back off of a tour around Nashville. She left yesterday for another tour on the East Coast, and she'll be done with that just in time to be here. So I encourage all of you to come. It's really, it's a $1,500 show that they're going to offer here for just a little pittance that we pay our bands. So it'll be a good thing to hear. The 30th, the following day, will be potluck. Joan, the flower calendar, how's it doing?
We're good for October except the last day.
The 30th of October, okay. So the calendar, the sign up is right inside the hall door, right over here on the bulletin board there. We had a board meeting this morning, and we got to talking about there's a task that needs completed. Our tables over in the hall are disgusting. I can't believe we actually put food on them. So we'd like to kind of set up, if anybody would like to set up like a work day, maybe Sunday after church or a Saturday morning or something, whatever, see Janet, and we'll figure out a time when we can get together and get some Comet cleanser and scrub brushes and go through our tabletops and clean them up a little bit. I have received this week an email right out of the blue, and I'm going to read it. The email to me was from Pam Bourne's daughter. And I'm just going to read it. Pam came missing, what, Kelly, 4 years ago maybe? Yeah. And we've done everything to find Pam. She has reappeared. This is from Cassie, Cassandra, her daughter, and Pam. Hi, Patrick. Thank you for your help with my mom. She's doing very well with better health care, first in Sydney and now in Oregon. We set up a garden apartment for her there, but we were forced to return for business. That was in Sydney, Australia. That's where Pam was from. Which was just in time to avoid the criminal tyranny in the down under, whatever that was. Anyway, since we've administered less meds, steady supplements, and an antipsychotic, she's been more peaceful than ever, cooperating with doctors, caregivers, and something for over 4 years now. And that's something for Pam to cooperate with caregivers. So, how are you? Mom still enjoys having your messages every Thursday read to her. We would love to hear from you. She would love to hear from you personally. Afternoons are best. There's some other stuff about car seats and stuff that nobody cares about. But anyway, kind regards, Cassandra and Pamela. They're in 2305 Ashland Street, Suite 104, Post Mail Box 349, Ashland, Oregon. I have copies for anyone who would like to be in contact. Kelly, would you like to just come up now and get these? And if you'd like copies, see Kelly, and I'm sure we can make more if anybody would like them. Actually, I'm going to keep one for.
You should let her know about your webcast.
What's that?
You should let her know about your webcast too.
Yeah,
So she
Yeah.
can actually see you every week.
yeah. It's just we've been looking for Pam for 4 years, and I'm not sure why all this came about, but anyway, she's alive and well. So I'm very thankful to hear from her just out of the blue. So, are there any other announcements? Oh, yes.
Thank you to whoever helped us get the Noah barrel back in the hall. So remember to drop in what you can in it, and usually we do a little bit of a drive every time we have a potluck. And also a great big thank you to everybody who participated in the prayer chain that I asked for. My grandson went through surgery. He's doing well. He should be coming home from the hospital either today or tomorrow. So thank you all. We are small but mighty.
Okay, thank you. And that prayer chain works. We did one for my landlord, Rick, Rick's driving his car. He's going hunting up in Idaho. His head looks kind of funny because they take the top end, but they put the bone back in and sew him up, and he's back at work. And it's amazing. I'll tell you something else that's amazing too. We're just a little group of folks, like she said, tiny but mighty. But we took on several years ago a philosophy of tithing every quarter as a church to a nonprofit. And today we decided to give a tithe to a very special organization. Sabrina, would you tell us a little bit about that organization? I think it's great.
It's called the Buckaloo Ministries, and they help to pick up the slack for, I've really been moved during COVID and before that mental health was not being supported in the nonprofit sector. I mean, and when COVID happened, it really shined a spotlight on all the people that fell through the cracks. And it was not just the folks suffering, it was also collateral damage to everybody in the community. Folks that had autistic supportive services and schooling, all of a sudden their structure was gone. And a lot of people, there were mental health hotlines that weren't being taken care of. This group stepped in to help pick up the slack for the Athena House that was in the old stone house over on the other side of Santa Rosa, taking care of women in recovery. But they also take care of hotlines, suicide hotline, mental health hotlines and stuff like that, and group and services like the living room where people can just step in and get homeless services or help in rehousing. So this group is helping pick up the slack. Athena House is being moved to a different structure, but many of the employees that were helpful in these services are now being, helping move to a transition to a different kind of a setup. And they do similar work like what COTS does with us with the cottage and helping people in transition through recovery and homeless services. So they're a big comprehensive umbrella, but they are specifically addressing Sonoma County's needs. And what the board did in our deciding was to give one of our tithes to this organization specifically for Sonoma County outreaches. And so when I looked them up online, they are a nonprofit, they're complete with the numbers that the IRS and all the folks gotta have. Their main office is down in Marin County, but they're taken care of here. So I'm appreciative that we took care of that, and thank you to our board for helping move the dollars forward to keep these services in flow. Thanks.
Thank you. And just keeping that abundance flowing through us. Okay, we're going to stand up now. Any other announcements? I'm sorry. Anything else? All right, let's stand up and say life is for living, and we can just keep enjoying this living experiment that all of us are going through. Yes, Bonnie.
I would just like to thank the church and all of the people that came. So,
Well, thank you for hosting it, Bonnie. It was really a wonderful, wonderful celebration of your son's life. Thank you for having us.
Do not be frightened. But now is the time that we greet each other in the traditional Church of the Old Fashioned, or in whichever way you might be comfortable.
Very good friends.
I don't think that helps.
Don't worry, you'll step on your toes. Otherwise, you sit over there.
Isn't it amazing? I'm being a little personal right now, but I'm going to not say why. Isn't it amazing that no matter how many bumps you go over in the road or what might happen, this time that we greet each other, we connect and we know, oh, this is what it's really all about. All of us get upset from time to time. I get so angry sometimes it's good I live alone because anybody else will just leave. But it's when we come together, we connect. And that's what our purpose is here, is to all about learning about connecting with the seen and the unseen. And when I look at the compassion and the caring and the acceptance in this room, it's the most empowering and humbling feeling a person can have. To sit here Sunday after Sunday and watch it take place right now. Just thought I'd share that with you. Abundance, our tithing, our fellowship, our helping each other with grief. We're having another celebration of life today. We're all in this together, my friends, my brothers and my sisters. It's an amazing experience. Let's read together our affirmation of abundance, shall we? Gratitude is the key to the realization and manifestation of abundance. May we ponder that a moment, sir. As we prepare ourselves for our practice, let's sing together, Be Still and Know That I Am God, number 69 in the wings.
Morning. So, if you've been coming here regularly for a while, you know that these moments of practice together are really about one thing, and that is the direct experience of our divinity, both individually and collectively. And I'm fortunate to have just literally right before the church service began today, completed a retreat where the focus was just that. And practice that I'm going to share today comes from that time I spent in retreat, actually. And it's simply the drawing of our awareness into that part of ourselves that comes before death, before birth, exists prior to the mind or the body, but simply is part of the flow of life. And so, to begin, just take a moment to close your eyes and put your awareness on your breath. And this divinity that we all are, the veil between the mind and body is in fact an illusion. And this divinity envelops all of that in light at all times. We're going to put our awareness there today. So as you breathe in, imagine that you're pulling this bright, brilliant, golden white light from above your head down through your body, your mind. Inhaling, and as you exhale, push it down through your feet. It's almost like pumping water. If you've ever noticed how a straw works, or a clear soap dispenser, or something like that, you know that wherever something vacates must be filled. So we're just going to call in that divine light, recognizing that it has an innate intelligence. You can receive anything from this light: strength, compassion, self-love, even physical healing is available here. Just keep breathing. Breathe in that light, and as you do so, just ask yourself, who is it that witnesses my life? Who am I, really? Can I truly say I am anything beyond this abiding, loving awareness, in which all the events of life play out in perfect grace? As this flow continues, just take a moment and ask yourself, what is my heart's true desire? For it is in this, more than anything else, that the salvation of the world lies. When we each become willing to ask for and receive our heart's deepest desire, all the world will heal before our eyes. And not only in the future, but right now. Whatever you received as your heart's desire, or perhaps just a feeling, may not even be a conscious thought. That's okay. Just treasure that as a parent treasures their precious child. Let that flame awaken within you. Namaste.
Thank you, Madeline. I was having a conversation this week, earlier, I don't know, middle of the week. And this conversation, part of it was about our human desire and need for intimacy. Not even so much physical intimacy as just the desire to be connected. A very special, private, fulfilling way. And I thought more about this, and I asked myself, what is the most important, most intimate, most important relationship we could possibly have in this life experience, each one of us? And I could be wrong, but it seems to me like that's that relationship that our mind has with our heart. And there's quotes on the order of service that address this a little bit, but it's like, if you want some peace of mind, you pretty much have to have peace in your heart, because the two act together. When I think it was Cesar Chavez said that during his revolution, farm workers' revolution, they'd sent the lady went up to New York, or he did, and got some solidarity from the fruit growers and the stores, markets in New York. He said, we are going to win this revolution because it's not about violence, it's not about philosophy, it's a revolution of heart and mind together. And every one of us, I can attest, when my head's out of sync with my heart, life is just not smooth at all. And I think most of us come to that realization at some point in time. I'd like to read a couple of quotes to you. I came across them, and to me, they really spoke to me. I don't know if they'll speak to you or not, but one's by Ram Dass. The heart surrenders everything to the moment. The mind judges and holds back. In most of our human relationships, we spend much of our time reassuring one another that our costumes of identity are on straight. But when we can see the beloved in each person, it's like walking through a garden, watching flowers bloom all around us. And I think that before we can see the beloved and the tranquility and the peace and the love and the brilliance in another person, we have to be able to see it in ourselves first. The next quote is by John D. Chittister. It's about hospitality. Hospitality means we take people into the space that is our lives, our minds, our hearts, our work, our our efforts. Hospitality is the way we come out of ourselves. It is the first step towards dismantling the barriers of the world. Hospitality is the way we turn a prejudicial world around, one heart at a time. Oh, I wish everybody could be personally become like a member of the UN. I wish we could all show up for UN meetings. Really, where they really discuss the conditions throughout our world. And I talked about earlier about being sometimes very, very upset. We all get there. But you know, I think that when we are upset, especially by other people or by situations, I think that that's part of the plan. I think when we're upset and disturbed, that is kind of supposed to happen, because when we feel that, that means we are open and receptive to realization and healing within ourselves. Part of the plan, part of the unseen plan for all of us. We are all given the opportunity every day to expand our awareness, to understand a little more of these mysteries of life, the opportunity to grow, step out of our comfort zone, and very importantly, the opportunity to heal. Anybody in here doesn't need a little healing? Or even a lot of healing? I mean, if you are, you're free to go. There's food next door. I've known so many of you for a very long time. And I've seen all of us, myself included, grow. I've seen us go through some really hard things. And I've seen us heal. I've seen so many of us have some really serious health challenges, and we've healed. This life experience we have is amazing. And I think it can be more amazing if we take some time and work on this intimate relationship between our head and our heart. So many times we get stuck in our head and it's, wait, back off and heal. Back off and let your heart become part of the whole equation. That's why I love the word ponder. When I was a young man, 1956, I memorized the Luke 2 Christmas story to read in my little Methodist church. But I didn't read it, I just memorized it and told it. And the last line in that story that we've all heard is, Mary kept all these things in her heart and pondered them. And from the time I was 9, I learned that you can think and contemplate all you want, but when you include your heart in the thinking, in the concentrating, in the meditating, when you ponder, it's a whole different set of reasonings. It's a whole different consciousness. It's a whole different feeling. You address challenges. We are meant to have challenges every day of our lives. give us the opportunity to deal with those, to learn from them, to demonstrate to others how we go through challenges in a rightful way. That light. If you ever wanted to learn more about this, the actual science of this, most of you have heard the name Gregg Braden. Greg with 3 G's, one on the front and 2 on the back. And Braden, if you go online, Google him, he's got 500 videos maybe. He's written a dozen books. My favorite is the Divine Matrix. And in that Divine Matrix, he talks a great deal about the heart and how everyone thinks our mind is our most powerful asset. He said science proves that the heart actually is. It has more energy to the brain than the brain has to the heart. And he did experiments. I remember watching a video when I was reading his book and really into Gregg Braden, where they actually can test and write down the energy given off by the heart is the strongest energy given off from the body. That's the science. I don't know how to do all that stuff, but we sometimes give ourselves to feeling with our heart, great emotion and feelings, and we leave the brain out, our head out. But if we can learn to include our mind and our heart, our brain and our heart, in our responses, in dealing with the challenges that we all get every day, I think life might actually improve. Personally, I think life is wonderful most days. Some days it gets a little intense. But I don't think I'm any different than anybody here in this room. We're all here. We've all tasted what this thing called spirit is. And we all realize we have a lot to learn and a lot to figure out. But we all commit to doing that by showing up week after week. So I think in our humanness, I think our desire for connection, for this thing that we in our language call intimacy, it's actually connecting with each other, with ourselves, with the universe. Oh, I think it's much easier to experience the trials, tribulations, joys, and satisfactions of every day if our mind and our hearts are included in all that we do, all that we decide on, and our responses. Something to ponder, my friends. Yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about today. How about we stand up and sing the song, I Love Myself the Way I Am. Please read the quotes on the order of service. Thank you.
Nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful. feel love inside myself. It's easy to love you. When you hide your fears, your raging tears, I see your shining sun. And I love you just the way you are. Love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, oh help me grow, loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. When change outside and only come, and deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am.
Well, a little amen, shall we?